Release the Kraken!
Welcome back, fellow game designers. In our last video, we went ahead and made the leg of our Luigi. And in this one, we're going to go ahead and just add on the shoe. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to come up and go to File, we're going to save our work. And we're going to save out the next iteration, so File, Save As. And we're currently working on version 3. Let's go ahead and go up to 4. Here we go. And I'll just come down here and start modeling the shape of the shoe. So it's going to be a bit easier to start this off with a cube. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a cube. Go to my front view. And let's center this like so. Put this so the base is on the ground. I'm going to press the R key to scale this. I'm just going to scale it some amount wide. That's good. And then I'm not going to scale up because that's going to stretch under my floor, which I don't want to do. So instead, I'm going to go into vertex mode here. Grab the top vertices, and I will move those to about the top of the shoe here. And since I can't really see what I'm doing, I'm going to go ahead and just go into my attributes over here, grab my Lambert, and then bring up my transparency, like so. Very good. And now I can get a better view of what I'm looking at. Let's go into our side view. And you can see our cube is quite squished. So I'm going to take the front vertices here. I'm just going to go ahead and move those to the front. I'm going to take these back ones, move those to the back. So now I have the rough outline of the shoe here. And to get this curve on the top, I'm going to have to cut into the shoe. So I'm going to go up to my multi-cut tool, hold down the Control key, and I'll put a cut right about there. And that's going to give me enough shape here. So hit Q, I'll select these, and then I will move those up to the top of the shoe here. Now remember that we have two shoes here. We've got this outer piece, this is the second shoe, and we have this inner piece, this is the shoe that's in the front toward us. So this is what I'm going to use. That looks good. That looks good there. I'm going to go into my front view. Remember that whatever changes we make on one side, we should make on the other. And you can see that this is high, which is good because it meets the top of the shoe. But these points here and these points here have to go lower. But look, I can't lower this without bending my shoe. So what that means is I need to cut it in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my multi-cut tool, hold down the Control key, and I'm just going to find a middle point. That looks good enough. And now I can lower the corners of this part and that part. I'm going to go ahead and just grab these, and then I'll hold Shift and I'll grab these. That point and that point, and then W to move it. I'll just move those down like so. Very good. And if we look in our perspective view, you can kind of see how that's taking shape. Right now it's kind of boxy. So we have a few other cuts we need to add in. I'm going to go in to my side view. And to get some of this roundness, I have to bring this corner in. But again, if I bring this corner in, I'm going to flatten off this angle. So I need to cut along here. I'm going to go ahead and grab my multi-cut tool. I'm going to press Control, and I'm going to guide this right around center. That looks pretty good. I'll cut it. Press Q to turn off my tool. And now I can start using these to start shaping my shoe. So I'll bring this part in, like so. This part, like so. I'll move this down to adjust for good edge flow. That looks good. And then where is this one? That's probably fine there. I'm going to go into my perspective view so I can kind of see what I'm doing. Now remember that the shoe is going to be round, so I need to take these corners back. So I'm going to grab this point, and that point. And I'll do the other side at the same time. So I hit Q, and then hold Shift, and grab this point, and that point. And I will move these and these back. That's going to give me some roundness. Okay. I'm going to do that on the back as well. So I'm going to grab these 6 points. And pro tip, you can grab the same amount of vertices by going into edge mode. So I'm going to go into edge mode this time. And instead of grabbing 6 vertices, I'll grab 4 edges. So this edge and this edge, and then this edge and this edge. I'm going to get my move tool. I'll move those forward a little bit, like that. Okay, we're starting to round it off, which is really good. Still kind of rough. We need to add a cut along the middle so that we can start putting in this part of the heel. So I'll grab my multi-cut tool. I'm going to add in a cut right along here, like so. I'm going to just double check that cut, make sure it went through correctly. Looks like it did. Hit Q. I'm going to go into edge mode here. We'll double click the edge. And I'm going to straighten this edge out just because it does curve a bit wonky under here. So to straighten that edge, I'm going to hit the scale tool, which is R. And then I'm going to grab the point that goes perpendicular to the shape. So this one goes parallel with the shape. It runs in the same direction. This one runs perpendicular, which it runs in the opposite direction. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab that and pull it. And now that is straight. Very good. Now if I look at my shape, it is quite boxy on this side and on that side. So just like I did rounding on the corners here, I should also bring these corners in some. So I'm going to go into my 4 view here, just so I can see. And you can see that part of the shoe comes out, and then it comes out a little bit this way. So instead of pulling these corners in, I'm going to take these edges on the side here. I'm going to hit Q and turn the tool off. I'm going to grab these ones on the side. And grab my move tool, and I'll pull those out some. Looks good. And I'll do that on the other side. Grab this one, and then that one. Move tool, I'll pull those out. Go to the view here. It looks pretty good. Don't worry about following this curve here. That curve is a so if you look here, you can see how this kind of curves around. And while that does happen, that's a bit of a trick that you're going to see with perspective, because as things kind of curve with the camera, they get a little bit weird. So we're not going to follow the curve exactly. We're going to keep it kind of flat here. So just be aware of that. Now what I will do is on this center edge, I'm going to double click. And I want to straighten this out kind of like we did with our other side. So you can see how this kind of bends upward, and this one kind of bends upward. What the edge does is it tries to follow the curve of the body, but this is not really good for flexing later on, so I'm going to just straighten those out. I'm going to hit the R key. And again, I want to pull perpendicular to the main shape. So this and this kind of run and parallel here. This one runs parallel to these edges. This one runs parallel to these edges. So this one, my Y, runs perpendicular for the whole shape. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that and drag it down. And that flattens it. And then just like I did with the front where I rounded these edges, I do want to do that on the back, but I have a problem. I don't really have enough curvature to pull these ones out. And I also need to add an edge in the middle for the other part of this cut here. So I'm going to add an extra cut. Grab my multi-cut tool. And let's go ahead and add a cut right about here. Like so. And that's going to give us enough so that I can pull these out just a tad. So I'm going to go in and grab this edge and this one. And I'm going to pull them out just a little bit, not a whole lot. I'll do the same thing on this side. Pull those out just a little bit. Again, we're rounding. And I can take these back corners of the heel. I can bring those in some. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab both, this one, that one, and then this one and that one. I'll use the scale tool to pull them both in at the same time. And just grab the handle here that runs this way. And I'm going to just pull that in just a tad. Very good. Okay. Not bad with the shoe. Now for this bottom piece, I'm going to go into my side view here. And I want to select these bottom faces. So I'm going to go into vertex mode. Drag across to grab these bottom ones. I'm going to move them up like this. So it fits this edge of the sole here. Okay, like that. Now let's go ahead and just adjust for the curve here. So I'll just match the curve on this part. Look at these back ones. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the heel out as one group, and then I'll pull this section out as another group. Pretty easy. I'm going to go down and find the part for the heel, go into face mode, and then back here I'm going to select both faces, and then I'll use the extrude tool. So up here on my shelf, you can see they have the extrude tool right here. There's a little tower. I'll go ahead and hit that. Okay. I'm going to go into my side view, and I'm not going to pull out any arrows. I'm just going to go ahead and hit the W key. That's going to give me a move tool, and I will just move that down into the position of the heel. You see that? Perfect. I'm going to do the same thing for the bottom of this section. So I'll go in and kind of adjust my camera so I can see what I'm doing. Now, as you're looking at this and you have transparency on, it may be a bit tricky to know exactly what faces you're looking at. It's just a matter of practice, but it is these bottom 6 faces here. So if I turn the camera, you can see the bottom of the shoe. So this face, and this face. And then this face, and this face. And you can see I just have those bottom 6 faces. Okay. I'm going to hit the extrude button again. I'm going to go into my side view, W, and then I will pull down like so. Very good. And then over here, we know that we have an edge that we need to move to get inside of there. So I'm going to go into my perspective view, go underneath. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to select this face and then this face. I'm going to grab the arrow and move it forward some, just so I can have that separate. Then I can go into my side view and I can straighten things out. So under here, let's go to vertex mode. I'll just straighten this back out, and then I will take this guy, and then I'm just going to move this over to this flat part right there, like that. So now we have that shape. Awesome. Looking pretty good. Now that we have the whole shoe, it's time to sew the shoe to the bottom of the leg. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and select the leg, go into vertex mode. I'm going to go into my side view now. Let's move the entire part of the bottom leg. So these vertices, I'm going to move those up. Okay, let's go into object mode. I'm going to select the leg and the shoe. Hit combine, this guy right here. So now they are treated as one object. I'm going to go into my perspective view. And let's turn off our transparency so it's easier to see. So inside of attributes, we'll turn that down. Okay. And then we need to remove these internal faces here. So I'm going to go into face mode, and then I'm going to grab the faces on the bottom of the leg here. If you hold down the tab key, it makes it easier for you to paint select. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag like so. Just make sure you don't have anything extra. Press the delete key. So now that's hollow. But we also need to hollow out the space for where this is going to connect. So that gets a bit tricky because you have to know how many points to connect to. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and count. So I need 1 point, 2 points, 3 points, 4 points, and then 5. And then on this side I need 6, 7, and then 8. So I need a total of 8 points. So I need to make sure I have 8 points here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this one at the top makes 8. So that means I can remove these 4 faces as well. So go into face mode, grab this one, this one, this one, and that one. Go ahead and hit delete. And now I have this cavity that I can start sewing to. Now don't worry about them not quite matching. We are going to do some reshaping for that to work. So I'll go ahead and go into vertex mode. And I will grab this vertex here. Just move that forward some. Again, I'm using the arrow. Don't use the middle square because it's hard to tell where you're moving. And then this going to move that down like so. And just like I did with when we attached the hip, and we made an extra edge to make it easier, I'm going to make an extra edge here because I don't want to lose the shape of my pant leg. So I'm going to go grab my multi-cut tool. I'm going to hold Control and just cut a loop in here. And now I'm going to sew the pant leg down to the shoe. So I'm going to grab my target weld tool. And we're going to start sewing. I'm going to start from the back. So this one to here, like so. And then this one to here. This one to there. This one to here. This one to there. And I keep going around. Again, just be careful not to get anything extra. If you make a mistake, just hit Control-Z and you can undo. Okay? So it's going to go down, do that again. And this one, and then the last one from here to there. And now that is sewn on. Looks pretty amazing. Awesome. And the last thing I want to do on this leg is you can see on the pant leg, there's a bit of a cuff that rolls over the shoe. We could just paint that on, but I'm going to go ahead and cut that in so it looks like we have that extra little bit. Not too big of a deal. I'm going to make an edge loop, and then I'm going to extrude. So grab my multi-cut tool. I'm going to go ahead and hold Control to make an edge loop right on the leg here. And then go ahead and just check it, make sure it's clean. Looks good. I'm going to vertex mode, and go into my side view. Let's go to object mode real quick, adjust the transparency so I can see that shape. Okay, vertex mode. And now I'm going to use this loop that I created to follow the pattern of the jeans. So right here, it's going to move that back to about where the jeans are. This one up here is more so on the cuff. So I'll move that up. I'll just adjust these visually. This one can come down. This can come down like so. That can come down. This one. And this one. So now we have the position of where this cuff is going to go. Can also use this time to start shaping back in here on the leg. So I'll just grab these back here and I will pull those in. Looks good, looks good. Okay, let's go into perspective. And I will go back into object mode. Let's turn the transparency off, so bring that down. And this is the shape. Now I'm going to go ahead and pull this out using extrusion. So go into face mode. And then we're going to take the shape of the cuff here. So grab this one, hold shift, double click. That's going to go around. And now we're going to pull this out. So go up to the extrude button. Going to hit that. And then I'm just going to take the blue arrow, not the box, just the arrow. I'm going to pull that out. And we have the beginning of the cuff. Now we want to be careful we don't have any overlapping vertices here. It's not going to be that big of a deal, but later on we start animating, that could get in the way. So to make that a little bit easier to work with, I'm going to hit the box this time. And then I'm going to grab the middle box, and I'm going to pull back. And you can see as I pull back to the left here, it pulls that in. Very good. And now I'll go ahead and just work with it manually. So vertex mode. When I come in, I want to make sure I don't have any overlap. You can see down here I have an overlapping vertex. So I'm going to move that up like so. This one here, I'll pull that back so it defines the shape of that a little bit better. And the rest of it looks like it'll work for what we need. Awesome. I'll go ahead and go into object mode here. And I think that is going to do it for this video. Looks like it's coming along pretty nicely. And the next one, we are going to start working on the arm. So save your work, and I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Also, we are at 1,500 subscribers. Woo! That is awesome possum. Rocket Flip is out if you have not taken a look at my latest devlog. It is in open beta testing, so if you want to grab a copy and test it out, see how it plays, leave some feedback, it really helps me out. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I shall see you next time.